And we are live, guys. Emergency live stream. I was planning on doing some other content, getting some more content on the page up for you guys. And this just came across my timeline. Apparently, there is a live stream going on right now. Let me just hop down up in there as folks get into the room. There is a live stream going right now entitled New Accusers Tell Their Stories. Click to watch the live stream. We're going to watch this live and direct right now. We're going to go along with this particular story as it develops. So you guys will see right here, Diddy is about to be hit with lawsuits for the SA and abuse. And a Houston-based law firm representing over 50 accusers is telling some of their stories for the very first time. The attorney for these 50 accusers, Tony Busby, is holding a press conference today at 1 p.m. in Houston, where his firm will reveal new allegations against the goddamn diddler. Sean Combs charged in Manhattan federal court. So we know all of this information. I think we should just get right up down in there and go over this particular live stream as it is developing. So let's go.
At the length fans will go, no matter the evidence to the contrary, to defend celebrities they love. I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics. I've personally already been threatened multiple times on social media. And when I agreed to pursue this, I expected as much. This isn't my first rodeo. But victims who step forward to have their voices heard should not be subjected to that kind of conduct. They should not be targeted. I want to say this, and I want to be clear about it. Although we are vetting each call as stringently as we can, I always start with a mindset that I believe victims. I believe victims because I understand the tremendous courage it takes to step forward. So if you're watching this, please hear me. If you're out there and you have been victimized, you are not alone. There is a great strength in numbers. You can seek redress. You can obtain justice. We can help you, and we will help you. That being said, as stated, we are vetting every call that we receive. We have had to turn away some. For each, we ask for corroboration. For each, we ask for the identity of witnesses. We also have collected pictures, videos, texts.
Uh-oh.
We check venues. We check dates.
Uh-oh.
We want to corroborate that the claims being made have legitimacy and merit. We have on staff now a former detective from the Major Offenders Unit of Houston Police Department who is helping us vet each claim. We're using our common sense. We're being stringent because, as I said, these are not easy cases. They're very tough. The process is hard, and in some cases, the process is very lengthy.
Yo, they got the 1-800 number up right here.
Many times it's the victim's word against the alleged perpetrator. Each of these victims will no doubt be publicly attacked by the alleged perpetrators, and in some cases, the general public. The feckless and cowardly keyboard warriors love to attack. We know what we're up against. We did not enter this fray blindly. I wish it was my last such fray. I wish this type of behavior wasn't so pervasive. But it is what it is, so we will press on.
It is absolutely crazy to me that there is a phone number listed for a class action lawsuit. Just the amount of people, even outside the legitimate claims, all of the people with mental health problems are calling in.
As I said,
they got a lot of ish to sort through.
By 120 individuals at this point.
Damn!
To pursue cases in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs. You should know.
Wait, hold up. I'm about to call this number.
It is evenly divided between males and females.
Ew!
There are 60
Diddler.
males and 60 females who have joined us to pursue these claims as plaintiffs.
That is so crazy.
In this group, 62% identify as African American, 30% are white, and the remainder are Hispanic or Asian. The victims are from more than 25 states. The majority are from California, New York, Georgia, and Florida.
We're going to call. All right. It's busy.
And I want to focus on the ages of these victims. When we talk about the ages of the victims when the conduct occurred, it's shocking. Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old.
What?
We have an individual who was 14 years old.
Oh, no.
He was 15.
Usher and
25
Justin Bieber.
Of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of. The time frame of the acts complained of is very wide. The conduct at issue spans from the years 1991 all the way till this year, 2024.
9 years old.
Why there are so many alleged
Oh my
victims?
God.
That's your answer. We're talking about more than 25 years of this type of conduct. Now, although most of the victims who have stepped forward were victimized after 2015, this has been going on for a very long time. Now, when you think about the fact that some of this conduct occurred 25 years ago,
Let me try to call again.
and you wonder why would it take somebody so long to step forward, I want to remind you that many states in the United States have recognized that it's very difficult for a victim to step forward and to make these types of allegations when something very terrible has happened to them. I'll use New York, the state of New York, as an example. The state of New York has specific statutes in place that revive claims that are even claims that would typically be not able to be brought, that it revives such claims and they can be brought even 25 to 30 years later. Because there's a recognition there in New York and California and other states that it's very difficult for a victim to come forward. And I would respectfully suggest the only reason many of these people are coming forward because they see other victims coming forward. And it gives them some comfort that, hey, I won't be the only one. And I expect more victims will come forward. You know, there's an old saying that says, a lie has great speed, but truth has endurance. The acts complained of,
This is so crazy.
these cases that we're going to file, occurred primarily in New York, either Manhattan or the Hamptons, or occurred in California, primarily in Los Angeles, or in Florida, primarily in Miami. Most of these events and incidents occurred at parties, typically after parties, or album release parties,
Freak-offs.
Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they called a puppy party, the all-white party, although several of these events occurred at auditions. Many times, especially young people wanting to break into the industry, were coerced into this type of conduct in the promise of being made a star, or in the promise of having Sean Combs listen to their tape or even let them read for Sean Combs. You should know that some of this behavior occurred at well-known venues in New York City. Some of this behavior occurred at private residences of people that we all know. Some of this behavior occurred at hotels that we're all familiar with. You should know that more than 55% of the victims filed reports, reported this conduct.
You lying.
To the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals.
55% reported what happened to them from Diddy, and no one knew anything that was going on. That is crazy. Just think about how ridiculous of a control that you have to have on different players within the industry. This is some this is way worse than Epstein.
Process of collecting
way worse
assistance, medical records.
And here's the thing, because there's a lot of people going back and forth regarding all of these people that's going to be coming out. And yes, when someone gets found guilty, there's going to be some people that's going to be dogpiling on from a monetary perspective. But even if he's just guilty of one of these things, and here's the thing, after watching that Cassie video of the way, not just that he was defending himself from a chick, but the way that he beat her down. Dudes that can do shit like that are capable of anything. Yes, I absolutely believe dudes that do shit like that are capable of touching children too.
Made to the authorities, and I've already said that some of the individuals in this group did in fact talk to the FBI. You should know that
that's
several
wild.
Of the individuals, and when I say several, I mean many, who did in fact seek medical treatment were drug tested, and drugs were found in their system, weird drugs that you probably never heard of. One in particular that continues to pop up is a drug called
Scolopamine?
Xylazine, or Trank.
Trank.
Which, based on our research, is known as a horse tranquilizer. Now, there's been a lot of reports that we're filing a class action. This is not a class action. Class actions when one or two people file a case on behalf of a group of people. That's not this. These cases will be individual cases. Each case will live and die on its own merit.
Oh,
These cases
okay.
will be filed individually, one plaintiff against whoever the defendants were involved in the case. Each case may be filed in one venue like California, another case may be filed in New York. One
Okay.
case may sue just Sean Combs, but multiple other people. One case may sue a range of people.
Oh, okay.
I would expect most, though, to be filed, as I said, in New York and Los Angeles. Now, I know this. Many of
Chat,
you
this is
came
crazy.
Thinking or hoping,
The whole
perhaps
entertainment industry about to go down.
believing that I may start naming names.
Mm.
Well, that day will come. But
Okay.
It won't be today. The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these-
Hollywood is
for
terrified.
this case. We're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed.
We're
They
calling.
already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. And I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are.
I wonder if this also implicates people who are coming out now and they're saying things about Diddy, such as like a Gene Deal, who a lot of people give him flack, and a criticism is like, why are you going to come out 20 years later and to talk about these different things? Because you were there when you saw the bullshit happening.
I call them the facilitators of foul play, willing participants in vile conduct. As we identify them, each will be part of this case as defendants. These defendants will not only include individuals, but would also include corporate entities who ultimately profited off of this culture and behavior. I'm looking at banks, pharmaceutical companies, hotels. We know that many of these individuals were paid cash. We know that many of these individuals involved, whether they were the ones being assaulted and abused or they're witnessing other people being assaulted and abused and then paid and threatened and told to leave. Typically paid 10 grand in cash and told to leave. And then threatened as they were leaving. So in addition to Sean Combs, you should know the defendants in these cases we're going to file will include anyone, of course, who engaged in the assault or exploitation, anyone who participated in such in any way, anyone who encouraged or facilitated this conduct, anyone who was in the room and watched it happen but made no effort to stop it, any venue or venue owner who was aware of what was going on but failed to stop it, any individual or entity who knew about the conduct and benefited from it but did nothing to report it or stop it, and any individual or entity who covered it up or helped cover it up. These people who know who they are should just come forward now. I would imagine, as we speak here, there are a myriad of people who are very nervous. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. I would expect there are many people out there right now who are desperately searching their memories as they delete their texts and data. Now, although these are, in fact, individual cases, there is a common theme, an MO, if you will. Typically, the victim is lured into a situation where he or she is given a drink. Typically, that drink, reported by these victims, is apparently laced with something. Once that drink takes effect, the perpetrators perform all kinds of sexual acts on the victims, many times passing him or her around.
Whoa.
As other people watch and enjoy the show, and then leave the victim ashamed, confused, injured, and wondering what happened. When the victim reaches out, he or she is told not to say anything. Sometimes there are threats of physical violence or financial repercussions. or bodily harm. The claims we intend to bring will include the following: violent sexual assault or rape, sexual abuse, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling prostitution, sexual misconduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment, sexual abuse of minors. Given the large volume of cases, and given our other docket obligations, and given the fact that we want to be sure when we file these cases that they are fully vetted,
please, 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 please make the trial public. I don't care if it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years. I guarantee you, if the trial is public, I may need to do an about shift on this channel and cover the trial from like 9 a.m. to like 1 p.m. every day, and then go do other content. Can y'all imagine, just looking at all of the content of all of the Diddy parties, can y'all honestly imagine the list of names? Because it wasn't the unmet, right? It's people that have notoriety that was at his party. This is documented. Now, everyone's going to come out now and say, oh, no, I didn't go to the after party. But you were there. Here's the other thing as well, is being able to prove that somebody was, that you were drugged. Because I've experienced women saying to me that they went to some place the other night and when they got back home, they were drugged. And I start like asking them questions on that shit. And it just, you just drank too much. You didn't want to take accountability. That absolutely happens as well. So they're going to have to prove beyond a shadow of doubt that somebody took a tab of something, it was against their consent, put it inside of cup, and they drank it. They have to prove that.
I expect we'll start filing these cases against Sean Combs and other perpetrators within the next 30 days. Now, it's rare, sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, this type of activity is pervasive in our society, and it's rare we get a chance where we can really focus on this as a country and really focus on this about how pervasive this is and what we as collectively can do about it. So I thought I'd take this opportunity before I go into some of the individual cases and talk about some of the individual claims being made. And
sure.
So you'll get a sense of what this 120 people group looks like individually. I want to bring forward
120.
She's a national victim advocate who helps victims who have been victimized by this type of conduct. And she has some important words, and I hope you'll pay close attention. I think it's important that you hear from her.
Hello, I'm Carrie Paul.
What up?
National Victim Advocate.
Okay, what is that?
It's not easy for any survivor to come forward. Our culture doesn't believe survivors. It blames and questions them. Instead of showing support, many choose to enable abusers. The media runs stories asking why it took so long for survivors to come forward instead of asking what barriers exist. We also don't equip law enforcement with the ability to handle sexual assault crimes. Lack of funding translates to lack of training. We have officers in the field that don't know what to say to a rape victim, and also an alarming amount of backlogged, untested rape kits. Prosecutors are focused on what they can prove in a case, and if so, how to do that at time of trial. Advocates and staff are stretched thin with growing caseloads in the criminal justice system. Most people don't know how the criminal justice works in general. There isn't enough staff or resources to adequately explain the entire process to every victim and survivor. Our culture works against victims and survivors every day, and abusers know this. Abusers work themselves into positions of power. building a public image that is trusted and financially large enough to make people look away. Abusers are unfortunately very skilled at power and control, the foundation of abuse. They seek victims who are vulnerable, such as children, their employees, and their intimate partners.
Okay.
All who see a different version than the public does.
Okay, got it. Hurry up, lady.
Who rely on the abuser in some way. And for those that do come forward and aren't believed, face questions like, are you sure it happened that way? Were you drinking?
I ain't gonna hold you. The first guy, he's a lawyer. Apparently, this chick like works at their law firm as like a victim advocate, whatever. But like framing it like this before saying anything to me makes me feel like of the 100 or so cases, there's not a lot of strong ones. Because even the lawyer said earlier, you know who you are, you know you're a victim, you might as well just turn yourself in now. That made me feel like that as well, just a little bit. But what is the point of just framing shit like this? We understand. Get to the direct allegations.
What are you wearing? All of this creates an environment that enables abusers to continue abusing them and future victims. To the survivors that have come forward despite not being believed at some point in time, your courage is like nothing we have seen before.
Shut up. Okay, got it. Let's get on to something.
Thank you for coming forward for yourself and all survivors. And lastly, I want all survivors that are watching this to know we believe you and we support you. Thank you.
Okay. That was just an emotional rant of bullshit. Okay, come on, my G. Let's go.
From my co-counsel, Andrew Van Arsdale.
Let's go.
We've created a sexual abuse hotline.
Oh, let me try to recall that.
Visit with us just a few moments about how that works and the kind of volume of calls we've received.
Thank you, Tony. Like Tony said, my name is Andrew Van Arsdale. I'm the managing partner of ABA Law Group.
Okay.
My office is in California, Montana, and North Carolina. To build off of what you just so well said, it's very hard to come forward.
Oh,
and
we got through for a second.
What we've experienced the past 10 days is really unprecedented in my career, at least. We represent thousands of survivors of abuse. And never,
Calling a DIDDY hotline.
ever in a 10-day period,
Keeps cutting off.
have we seen over 3,000 people come forward, or
3,000? That is so crazy. Let's say 90% of them are just looking for money. That's still 300.
confirmed and decided to investigate and represent 120 people, while we're continuing to work through another 100+ cases to prove them up, to validate what had happened here, and to hold those that are responsible accountable. And so like Tony said, we've set this up, 1-800-200-7474. I have a team of people standing by literally. If you know that this happened to someone and you have information about it, please contact us. If this happened to you, come forward. There's attorney-client privilege here. What you tell us is in confidence. Yes, we'll have to go out and build your case.
By the way, guys, if you cannot hear what's going on, the issue is that it's left side hearing only. Don't blame me. It's their audio on their live stream. Okay? Turn up on your left side.
Case, but we will protect you. And the other thing that I want to say is the pattern and practice of this, again, is unprecedented. Over 30+ years of the same sort of events happening, people thrust into the circle reportedly, and horrible things happening to them as a result. And from talking to these people that have come forward these past 10 days, I can tell you unequivocally that because the federal government did what it needed to do and indicted this man, that they put him in jail and a judge kept him in jail, they tell me directly, this validates my feelings. For so long, I thought it was my fault. What is it about me that put myself in that scenario? What was I wearing at the time? What did I do to be subjected to such horrific treatment at these people that I was trying to trust? Well, we know now it was not your fault. You were victimized by a group of powerful people that operated for 30 plus years, taking advantage of their wealth and the power that they held within the music industry. So again, thank you.
Here's what I don't like. I like the first guy who comes on with like logical statements. Between the victim advocate, the woman over here, and this guy, what essentially that they're trying to do is because think about the whole thing. They have the Diddy hotline. The Diddler hotline is right here. Call me now if you've come into contact with Diddy because you might be entitled to compensation. But these two, what they're doing is that this is a sales pitch. This is a sales pitch to anybody that has ever had some type of connection to Diddy. And I don't like when they do this because this is convincing people. Now, when I say this, do understand, I think Diddy is guilty as sin. I'm saying that right now. But I do think that when they do this, it convinces people that they were a victim of something, because the human mind is a weird bastard. What we can tend to do for our own self-preservation and our own defense is to forget how we were accountable in a situation. So this is like lawyers just being lawyers right now. They're making an emotional sales pitch. Now, again, I think Diddy's a piece of shit and he's guilty of some shit and he's going to go to jail for life. But do I think all 150 people that's going to be coming through is going to be truthful? No, absolutely not.
Every person that has come forward and contacted our office over the past 10 days, if you or someone you know suffered the same sort of treatment, please contact us at the number behind me and we will help.
It's a sales pitch.
Thank you.
I think it speaks to how important this issue is in the United States and frankly internationally, that we have reputable people here that want to provide kind of information that I think victims need to hear, witnesses need to hear, the public needs to hear. Let me introduce to you now Olivia Rivers from the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, and let her visit with you a few moments about these types of cases.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Q Olivia Rivers. I am just served my 6th year as the board chair for the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault. I'm also the CEO for the Bridge Over Troubled Waters, which is a local rape crisis center here
Still busy.
in the Houston area. So thank you for being here as we address these heinous crimes. Sexual assault is not just a crime of violence against the body. It's an assault on the very essence of human dignity and safety. It shatters lives, it destroys confidence, and all too often, it leaves survivors feeling like they are voiceless, isolated, and vulnerable. The reality for many survivors is that coming forward to report their assault is one of the most difficult and daunting tasks that they will ever have to do. And for some, it may take days, months, or even years to speak up, if they ever do. The reasons for this have been mentioned, but include the fear of being disbelieved, being blamed or judged, and, of course, retaliation. The trauma of the assault itself being compounded by the trauma of the criminal justice process, where survivors must relive their experience in order to seek justice. And these feelings and fears are further exacerbated when the allegations are against prominent figures in the entertainment industry or Hollywood. Cases involving powerful figures often attract significant media attention, which can deter victims from coming forward due to fear of public exposure or scrutiny. The intense focus on these high-profile cases can make survivors feel that their personal lives are being put under a microscope, causing further emotional distress. These allegations mentioned here today, as reported, reflect deeply troubling claims that deserve thorough investigation, and no individual, regardless of their stature, is above the law or public accountability. Sadly, the statistics paint a very disturbing picture. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. In the U.S. alone, there are approximately 463,000 victims of rape or sexual assault every year, and these numbers barely scratch the surface as sexual violence remains one of the most underreported crimes. But the numbers that follow tell an even more troubling story. Only about 23% of sexual assaults are reported to law enforcement. Of those, just 5% lead to an arrest, and even fewer, less than 1% of reported cases ever result in a conviction, which is a devastating gap between the crime and the justice that survivors deserve. I want to briefly focus on our state here in Texas. According to the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, 6.3 million Texans, men and women, will experience some form of violence. That's every 2 minutes someone is sexually assaulted, meaning during the course of this press conference, around 60 individuals will forever be changed by this violence. And those are just a few of the victims. Obviously, this is unacceptable. We cannot allow this cycle of silence.
This is who I want to hear from right now.
We have to create an environment where survivors feel empowered to come forward, where they are met with empathy and respect and support.
Where is
not
he?
Skepticism and blame. We have to ensure that our legal system is equipped to handle these cases with the seriousness they deserve, and that survivors have access to the resources that they need beyond the legal courtroom. We have to address the root causes of this epidemic: prevention, awareness, and fostering environments where respect, consent, and safety are non-negotiable values. Additionally, support for survivors has to be holistic. They have to have access to counseling, medical services.
This is who we need right
legal
now.
Advocacy, and of course, community.
He's the only
support,
one that can save
regardless
us.
of whether they choose to report or not. To every survivor who has come forward, your bravery is an inspiration. To those who are still grappling with their decision, know that you are not alone and that your voice matters. Your story matters. We see you, we believe you, and we are committed to fighting for a future where sexual violence is no longer tolerated and where justice is not the exception but the standard. Thank you.
I want to visit with you real quickly before we close here about some specific instances without disclosing the victim's name. You probably know that depending on the age of the victim, you can file these cases, these individual cases, under Jane Doe or John Doe. Each state is different in that respect. Typically, there is a balancing test, like the public's right to know the name of the victim and plaintiff versus the confidentiality and the safety of the plaintiff. So we'll have to struggle with that with each one of these cases. Our intention, of course, is to, like we always do, file these cases under a pseudonym until the court tells us otherwise. But let me share with you a few, just kind of give you a sense of the kind of cases and the kind of instances that people are calling and reporting that we are trying to corroborate, vet, and these are the ones that we've already corroborated, vetted, and collected evidence on. One individual who was 22 years at the time she was assaulted said that the typical MO at one of these parties that have been widely discussed in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something, if you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party.
Wait.
That the drink is laced with something. If you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party was that you had to drink the chosen drink that was handed to you.
Yo, so, but so you had an option to leave. Is that what he's saying? This is like the Matrix. Do you choose the blue pill or the red pill? But in this case, either you choose to go home or get your butthole stuffed with Diddler.
And now we know that in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, these individuals were drugged with some sort of drug. That was kind of the MO.
That is very interesting piece of information of this conference that I think most people are going to bypass. He's essentially saying that they had an option. That's essentially what he's saying, that they had an out. That's not what we've heard before. We've heard coercion. We've heard manipulation. We've heard lies. We've heard that there's not they don't know that they're being drugged. That's interesting that he would say that. Let's listen again. Let's see if I missed that.
And now we know that in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases,
90%.
individuals were drugged with some sort of drug.
Okay.
That's kind of the MO. Another instance, this individual who was 9 years old at the time
Jesus.
was taken to a audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance.
9.
Minor. Told,
Diddy's done.
Allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged, and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her.
Oh my God.
Another individual, 26 at the time of the
Adios
occurrence,
mío.
was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs.
Diddy
in
going
his,
down.
Mansion in Miami.
Mm-mm.
Her vagina and her anus were torn and sore. And I could go on. I mean, literally, you're sensing a theme here. It's the same theme, and it all involves some sort of drug. One instance, an individual who was 20 years old at the time was asked to attend, just saw her on the street, asked to attend a party in a hotel. She was flattered, went to the party, was given one drink and doesn't remember anything else. Ultimately, was so messed up, went to the hospital where they found cocaine and this horse tranquilizer in her blood system. I want to give you a quote from a very young man who told us over the phone about his experience and all the things that happened to him. He says allegedly at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and his friends in the effort to try to sign a record deal. This was kind of what he was told he would have to do. His quote is, "Had he not been in power, I feel like I could have been something great. I quit the industry because of what Sean Combs did to me." And that's really what it comes down to.
Oh, gosh.
We are pursuing this, asking you to support this effort, to encourage witnesses and victims to come forward and bring your evidence so we can continue to break down this wall of silence and we can continue to have these stories heard. This is the beginning of what I hope to be a national dialogue. This type of sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual exploitation should never happen in the United States or anywhere else. This should have never been allowed to go on for so long. This conduct has created a mass of individuals who are injured, scared, and scarred. If you are one of those individuals, we ask you to reach out. If not to us, to someone you trust. If you are someone who witnessed any of these events, we ask you to reach out. Your name can remain confidential. With that, I'll take a few questions, not many, maybe two, but if you have a question, I'll be pleased to try to answer it. Perfect.
How many minors are making accusations in total, and are the feds aware of the allegations of minor movement?
I don't know what the feds are aware of, okay, but I do know it's 25 out of this 120.
Antonio,
But I will say this to that point. We welcome the FBI or any authority who wants to come to us, and we're going to make that available to these victims.
This is so crazy, chat.
My suspicion is, based on talking with these folks, is that the FBI is just not aware of these people. The FBI has talked to some of these folks, and I'm going to try to encourage the victims to, in fact, talk to the FBI, because I think they have some very important things to say.
Tony, were all of the children auditioning because they were musicians, or were any of them kids of employees or anything like that?
All seeking either TV or some sort of music career with promises.
This is. Hold up.
Star.
Hold up. Yo, this is so goddamn crazy. You know what's so crazy is, we've gone through this whole kind of like section of content of, accusations, #BelieveAllWomen, And I think everything still needs to be up for examination. Everything still needs to be up for examination. You are not guilty until you get a trial of your peers. We see publicly all of the information laid out. We see the videotapes. We see stories that are corroborated by witnesses in conjunction with physical evidence or the tapes, what have you. But this is the most, like, if all of the right, like, let's just say 50% of the allegations, let's say 20% of the allegations, this in comparison to Epstein, this in comparison to R. Kelly, this in comparison to Cosby, like, all of them are like Timothy McVeigh, the Unabomber. Diddy would be like Hitler. Yo, so think about all of the content that has been generated off of those just three names: Epstein, Weinstein, R. Kelly. We ain't seen nothing yet. Like, this shit right here might bring along Believe All Women 2.0. Yes. Yes. It may just very well bring on the next era. This may bring on the next era of feminism. Feminism just may have gone ultra instinct. Yes, it may have just reached a new level depending upon the conclusion of this case. Thanks, Diddy. All the damn work that we've been doing. But again, could there be people that's coming out and they're saying a whole bunch of things now, but due to money grab? Absolutely. Absolutely. That goes without question. But after I watched how he put, and it's not just that he put his hands on Cassie, because I tell you guys, if you're in fear of your life, men, women, and children can all get it. If a child's holding a gun, I'm going to elbow drop the shit out that young kid. I don't get it, right? Like, if my life's on the line, all right, he's getting a swift kick to the throat. I don't care. All right. Nevertheless, the way that he put his hands on Cassie, if y'all watch that video, oh, that's a certain type of guy that can do that shit. An evildoer, if you will. Let's go.
Instead, basically did things to them such that they don't want to have anything to do with the entertainment industry ever again. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your attention. We're going to go now. Thank you.
Okay, it's over.
Do you anticipate any Houston cases?
Any filed here?
Locally, yeah.
There's a few plaintiffs here, but I don't anticipate filing them here, probably in New York City.
Whoa. All right, I think this is the end. Guys, send in some of your questions. You know, maybe we'll go over some of the things that you guys are saying. How much time do I have? I got a couple of more minutes. Send in some of your questions. Let's go over what are your guys' thoughts in regards to this. As we do that, I want to take a look at Mr. Farnsworth Bentley's Twitter. Where you been at, Fonzie? Where you been at, sir? He's been posting. He's been retweeting. He's saying nothing Diddy related. Okay. Yeah, no, this shit is crazy. I'm gonna need Justin Bieber. I'm gonna need Jay-Z and Beyonce, both of them together. I'm going to need Usher. I'm going to name, what was his past girlfriend? The city bitch.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh,
Thank
what's
you for
that?
gathering.
Hold on.
My name is Damian Williams.
Sorry.
And I'm
That's
the United States Attorney.
that's the initial news shit. J-Lo. I'm gonna need all of them to get subpoenaed. I'm gonna need all of them. Carisha. I'm gonna need all of them to get subpoenaed. Let me see if you guys have any questions down up in there. Let's go over if you guys got anything real quick. Let me see. RIP to Aaliyah. The death as well as with Jay-Z. The Cassie tape doesn't equate to these accusations. No, I agree with you. It doesn't. But does it begin to paint that this guy is an evil piece of shit? It begins to paint that picture. So then my logic, my degree of reasoning, because that's really what this is that we don't know the answer because we have never been there. We have not seen the tapes. We have never been there. All we have is a list of victims, a list of accusations. We have tapes of odd behavior with different stars around Diddy. And now you have all of these people that were never stars accusing him of some bullshit. Oh, but wait, he was so quick to file with Cassie. And then we saw the tape of the bullshit. It's like, okay, there's a reasonable person would say, put it on trial. A reasonable person would say, put it on trial. They're going to have to, Farnsworth, they're going to have to Super Saiyan subpoena. All right. They're going to need Farnsworth. They're going to need Mr. Bentley up here first and foremost, because if Farnsworth said it so, it's true. Okay, this is not a lying young man. All right. Whatever happened to them? I just feel like they just stopped working together after a while. His Twitter is trash. Can you give us something, baby? That's the man right there. That's the man right there. Yo. Shout out to Mondo, $2 super chat. Baby oil about to go to trial. Word, they need to put Johnson & Johnson on trial. Who bought the baby oil? But I would say that the most ridiculous things of this entire live stream, outside of the 9-year-old, the accusation of a 9-year-old, right, is that the lawyer essentially said that you were given a choice. Either drink this liquid or go home. I mean, that sounds like an active choice right there. That's interesting that they said that in a prepared statement. That's interesting. Okay. Let me see what you guys are writing down up in there. Immediately, the parents should be on trial for failing their children. Johnson & Johnson going up on the stand. Shout out to Dre the Dream. Let me see. Gene Deal says Diddy fired Farnsworth Bentley for stealing. Well, if I would want to discredit somebody, I would say that they stole from me. Bring them up on the trial. Bring them up on the stand. But I stand by my statements. If R. Kelly is Ted Kuklinski, Diddy is Hitler. Like it's to that level. It's so different. And if they were able to do all of these things for the Weinstein case, literally it changed components of Hollywood. I just saw the other day the advertisement for Snow White. Have y'all seen this bullshit? Hold on, let me bring it up real quick. We are still feeling the effects of anti-man Snow White ad. And we're still feeling the effects of Disney. If you guys get an opportunity, take a look at the whole saga of the Snow White and the anti-man sentiment that this bastard actress was setting forth with that on the back of of the Harvey Weinstein shit that had happened a couple of years ago. And you'll see we're still feeling the effects. All right. But last but not least, shout out to Cat Williams. He called it out. You got to tell him no. Cat set the entire space ablaze with that one right there. All right. All right, guys. I got some errands that I got to do. Guys, keep locked to the channel. Thank you so much for being here with me. Wholeheartedly appreciate you rocking with me. I'm probably going to leave this one up for a little bit for folks to take a look at to see what's going on. But yeah, I think that this right here, depending upon the conclusion of it, will absolutely change the dynamic between the masculine and the feminine. They're gonna come into question this debaucherous nature of these Hollywood exec with these music moguls. Everything's going to be up for critique and or questioning going into the future. But above all, I hope the trial is public. Until next time, chat.